I think the most challenging, I think the move out cleanup is probably the most challenging in the sense that to do what I actually envisioned, which is to have a citywide program that involves both Fanshawe and Western that can help facilitate a more efficient move out. Essentially, a brief rundown of this project is that I'm currently working on a pilot right now with the London Youth Advisory Council to pilot a project that will make it easier for students to dispose of clothing, housewares, and non-perishable food items on the days leading up to the lease expiring in May. Right now, very little is being done in the downtown core area to make it easier on students to not just throw things out. And realistically, on these days, the 4 garbage bag limit that's standardly put in place is unofficially removed, so it really incentivizes people to just throw out everything, and it can be quite disastrous. Maybe not disastrous, but it can be. It's not a great situation, and we really think that we can bring together community solution to solve this community problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, the fee freeze is obviously a big highlight in your platform, and there are also a lot of service reviews proposed of USC services. So it's an overall theme in your platform, a better deal for students. Why is this important, and why did you decide to make this a focus?
I think students deserve a better deal. I think, to be honest, this is something that we should be proposing every single year, is to how can we work to get students a better deal. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen anyone come out and say that in any recent history. The fact is, the fee freeze itself stems from efforts that myself and my colleague Jordan Koop from FIMS, the former FIMS president, and a number of other people tried to push onto council last year to explain exactly the same rationale that we're bringing forth right now, which is that the USC needs to continue to take a hard look at its services and what it provides, and the only way to really ensure that we're doing it in a manner that will force us to be critical is if we implement this fee freeze. This freeze is only, again, on the base fee, so it's only the 12% of the $661 standardly charged to students, but it is the only section that is totally and wholly under control. We believe that it will usher in a new principle of better financial forecast, better long-term financial forecasting.
I have a question about one of your specific platforms.
For sure.
The Wave Spoke partnership with Student Athletics.
Absolutely.
I just want you to give me a few more details about what exactly and how exactly you're going to go about this and why you think students would be into it.
For sure. And this is the thing. It's more than just students being into it, because in the sense that what we're trying to do is try something new. And a lot of what you see through the platform is us trying new ideas. I'm not guaranteeing that this is going to be a massive hit, but the rationale behind this is twofold. One is to increase essentially a brand loyalty to the Wave and Spoke by providing students with a new service, which is essentially it's a promotion that on days that we have certain large home games, the Spoke will promote these home games with some sort of either a drink deal or a food deal to try and bring people in, and then it's kind of like a pre-game festivities for the home game. So not only will it make people more likely to go to Western home games, but it actually has the reverse effect, which is that, let's say, a community member who might be going to see a Western hockey game, instead of eating their meal downtown, they're now maybe be coming into the Spoke or the Wave because we're putting on a promotion in celebration of that. So not only is it really have the goal of increasing Purple Pride and hopefully increasing attendance at home games, but can also bring community members into our Wave Spoke operations and bring students there in a time where they might not otherwise be there. We don't really have a monopoly on evening celebrations in the Spoke. There's a lot of competition in the city, and we can really be working to bring more people onto campus into our operations.
Now, this year's USC executive, what's one thing you would have changed what they've done?
I think the programming broadly, and by programming I mean the entertaining concerts and speakers. There's been a real lack of diversity in these things, and I mean you saw with the one that I point to is the One Love Rally, One Love Rally 2.0, which was a wonderful show because I went in the sense that I was there and I saw Shane Coyson, who's this awesome poet, and Jessie Cruikshank, who I thought was really annoying, but she's she's a celebrity and it's cool. But the problem is this concert that lost $30,000, had about 100 to 150 people show up. This is an unacceptable amount of money to lose on such a small group of people that comes out, this very small audience. And the biggest tragedy about this is now we can't do the One Love Rally again because responsibly, I mean, we lost $30,000. We've lost the ability to do this again. This is actually also a very easily preventable thing. And we're suggesting in our platform point that's called Focus on Fun, which is really code word for a very simple budget revision. which instead of having our programming budget, I believe it's called the purple programming budget, located directly under the USC executive, who are not expert event planners and are busy being politicians, we relocate that to our productions manager and our production team, who are very, very talented experts at putting on concerts. We give them the broad parameters of the sort of things we want, and we'll be able to see more entertaining and academic and creative fun stuff that we haven't seen in the last 2 years. During Andrew Forgione's year, they had a Wave concert series that had 9 shows at the Wave that they partnered up with various faculty councils. This is what you can do when you decentralize the budget. Free your managers to actually get flexible and start doing work, and you don't have political interference on shows. There's no political way to host a concert.
What do you think the Gazette's role is in the USC and the student forum?
I think, so the role of the Gazette, I pondered this quite a lot. The Gazette has 3 roles to me. The first role is that it's an experience builder for students. So students who want to write into the Gazette, they can do that. I wrote into the Gazette this year. I wrote a review for a Margaret Atwood book that I read. That was really cool. I got to show my mom. She loved it. She really liked the book. She liked my review. This was a really great experience for me. Number 2, it also provides an enhancement of the overall Western experience, in the sense that when you're a student athlete or you're someone doing something on campus and the Gazette is there daily reporting to you, reporting about you rather, this is a really, really good thing. And then the last thing is, obviously, intrinsically, it's a medium of information and you can read something and it's just an entertaining thing. So it's a consumer item. So what is the role of the Gazette? It's a fundamental function of the Western community as it stands. What is its role in the USC? I mean, we rely on you to report on our stuff. You report on our elections more than anyone else. Other than that, I mean, hopefully you can come out to our events and stuff like that and have a good time. I don't see these things as, we're not the same, but you're a tool that facilitates a better Western.
What's your view on the strategic plan, and what did you think of the protest, and how would you handle a situation like that?
So this is what I find interesting about the strategic plan. Now, the main cause of protest I heard was about the differentiation, new policy framework, and the research-driven rather than teaching-driven. And I did a little bit of, not digging, but I looked up the 2001 strat plan. So I'm like, is this a new phenomenon? This is what I looked up. And I went to the 2001 strat plan, and right there in the introduction says, we understand that there is certain objectives of research that we need to meet. We need to differentiate our research. And I said in 2001, so when I was 9 years old, this was already passed. So this was, to me, it's a foregone conclusion, unfortunately. The unfortunate reality is there are larger structures at play here that are causing the university to adapt in this way, and this is a decision that happened a long time ago. The other really unfortunate reality is that we had a group of students who wanted their voice heard, and it was seemingly ignored. And this is what I find interesting, is that as a USC, in debates we'll talk about it, we'll be like, we need to listen to students. And then you have someone like a group like the Western Solidarity Network being like, listen to us, we're here, come listen. And they're screaming, and we're just looking off in the other direction. And that's exactly the problem. And I think there needs to be a framework for this sort of dialogue. But at the same time, to talk about like a framework for protest is inherently contradictory. Protests like this need to be dealt with on a case-by-case basis, with the ultimate goal of either resolving the problem that they're dealing with or having the protesters be appeased and leave it. They can't stay there forever. We have a fiduciary responsibility to our students that the UCC isn't necessarily isn't occupied by protesters all the time. But at the same time, we have a duty to our students to ensure that they have the ability to have free speech when necessary. These two things are inherently contradictory. It's very, very difficult to balance these things. And as a USC president, I would have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis with the ultimate goal of just trying to balance these two contradictory interests.
What is one point of your opponent's platform that you really think is a weakness and you don't agree with at all?
I'll tell you, I think a very large underlying principle of their platform is very, very troubling to me, and that can be summed up well in a statement that Mr. Bellman said in his video, which says, we need to put advocacy first. And you see that their whole advocacy point is first. The problem on their platform, the whole problem with putting advocacy first is that's fundamentally backwards. Advocacy comes after community. You need to know who the people are that you're advocating for, what their issues are, and have a community that's going to stand behind you if you want to have any pull if you want to do advocacy. The fact is there's a platform point that says we need to take advocacy out of the shadows and tell people what we're fighting for. Well, excuse me, if you're fighting for something that people want, you shouldn't have to tell them because you're already doing something good for them. I find it patently bizarre that this idea of advocacy can come before community. Community comes first. You have a student body. with you, that it feels connected to the USC, and then you take their concerns somewhere else. It is not an abstract thing that can just happen in a meeting in the USA chambers. That's fundamentally wrong.
And there's a lot about the LTC
Yes.
in your platform. One of the things I noticed is you want to build a bus shelter
Yes.
near the main gates. I would love a bus shelter. I'm sure a lot of students would, but how can you ensure the success of what you're advocating for with regards to improvement in service in an area of service, the LTC, that is so cash-strapped in the City of London?
Absolutely. You cannot guarantee success with advocacy. Guaranteeing success and advocacy are a sentence that can never be used together, and if you hear anyone saying that, you can tell them, I do not believe you, and you should say that confidently. Specifically about the shelter, and I really wish Jen was here. I know it was supposed to be a slate debate, and she could have explained it better. But the fact is, what we are trying to fight for is essentially working with both the university and the LTC to try and put some sort of capital investment in here. They did it at King's last year on the behest of former President Dave Bennett. He lobbied on a platform of, we need a bus shelter here. He was able to succeed in that. Jen knows exactly how to facilitate that, and we're confident that we are going to be able to pull it off. Is there a guarantee of success? No. There's very few things in this life that are guarantees of success, but we do have the tools and the know-how as a slate to facilitate this.
Well, there you have it, everyone. UFC presidential candidate Matt Helfand. For the Gazette, I'm Richard Raycraft.
I'm Megan Devlin.
Thanks for watching.